Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good morning, students.
Morning, sir.
Okay, how are you today? Good?
I'm
I
fine, sir.
hope
Thank you.
everybody is fine. Okay, so today, guys, we are going to continue our next lesson. So let me share the screen. So what's our topic today? Our topic today, yes, is about grammar. This is our topic today. It's about showing two contrast ideas using although, even though, despite, and in spite of. I believe you use these connectives, yeah, or words in your daily conversation, but I'm not sure if you understand or if you are sure how to use that in the correct sentence. So today we are going to learn how to use this connective in correct sentence. So before learning further, I'd like to show you what our objectives in learning this topic. So the first is you will be able to identify the structure of connective using although, even though, despite, and in spite of. And then you will be able to differentiate the text or the structure of connective using although, even though, despite, and in spite of. Okay, because why are we saying that? Because there are slightly difference among them, so you have to pay attention in my explanation, and hopefully you will understand at the end of the lesson. And the next is you will be able to create a sentence using connective using although, even though, despite, and in spite of. Okay, let's start. And then number 4, so you will be able to state a correct sentence or the correct form of connectives using although, even though, despite, and in spite of. Okay, so this is called a connective because it's connecting two clauses or two sentences, right? So all use to link, to connect two contrasting ideas, or to show that one fact makes the other fact surprising. Let me tell you in a simple explanation. So when you have two ideas, two sentences, but one sentence is contrasting to others, it means the two ideas are different. They are contrasting, or like the opposite, yeah, or unexpected. It's supposed to be when you study hard, you expect that you will pass the exam, but it may happen differently. It seems that the two ideas is contrasting. The result is not what you expect to happen. So that's called two contrasting ideas. Okay, or to show this connective is used to link two contrasting ideas, or to show that one fact makes the other fact surprising. Surprising means that is not what's supposed to be, or that is the result is not what we expect to happen. Okay, so what are the connectives? Yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning, it's just although, even though, despite, and in spite of. Okay, so in Bahasa Indonesia, those words or connectives you can say, or you translate into Bahasa Indonesia, meskipun. Yeah, in Bahasa Indonesia we have only one, meskipun, walaupun, right? Okay, in English we have although, even though, despite, and in spite of. The question is, are they similar meaning in the meaning and the structure or not? Okay, we'll find out later. Okay, so although, even though, despite, and in spite of, this is to show contrasting ideas. When you have when we have two different ideas, and the second ideas or the next idea is, it is surprising. Yeah, this is what we are not expecting to happen. Okay. Okay, they can all be used at the beginning and also in the middle of the sentence. So this connective you can use in the beginning of the sentence, and also you can use in the end or in the middle of the sentence. Right, so look at the picture. Okay, here are some example. Okay, even though the exam was easy, I failed. So do you think, how many ideas you find in this sentence? How many ideas? Two, right? The two ideas are, the exam was easy, but then the fact I failed. I failed. Is it contrasting? Is it contrasting or not? Yes, it is contrasting. Yeah, even though the exam was easy, I failed. What's supposed to be? If it is not contrasting, what's supposed to be there? Even though the exam was easy, and then you expect that you will be successful, right? But the fact is, the exam was easy, and then you failed. The exam was easy, and I failed. So because the two ideas are contrasting, so we need a connective to show that the two ideas are contrasting. So the connective is, even though. Yeah, even though the exam was easy, I failed. Meskipun ujiannya sulit, meskipun ujiannya mudah, I failed. I'm supposed to be successful in this exam, but I failed. Okay, even though the exam was easy, I failed. So the topic what we are learning is even though, and then what happened after even though. Yeah, what happened after even though, or what is following even though. Okay, right. So you find here that even though is placed in the beginning of the sentence, right? Even though the exam was easy, and then you put comma here, I failed, and then full stop because it's the end. And then the second sample, I failed even though the exam was easy. Okay, I failed even though the exam was easy. Okay, can you find the difference between the first sentence and the second sentence? What are the difference? Yeah, the difference is the place of even though. Number one, even though is at the beginning of the sentence, right? And then the second sentence, even though is placed in the middle of the sentence. Okay, in punctuation, besides that, do you find any difference in writing, for example? Do you find any difference? Comma, right. So comma, yeah. I failed even though the exam was easy. When you put even though in the middle, you don't need comma, but even though in the beginning of the sentence, you gotta put comma. Even though the exam was easy, I failed. Yeah, I failed even though the exam was easy. You don't need comma there. Okay, I forgot to put full stop. Supposed to be full stop there. All right. So another example here as a caption of the picture. Although or even though Peter had studied hard, he couldn't pass the exam. All right. So can you put in the middle? Can you put in the middle? Although or even though in the middle? Yes. Who can put in the middle? Although or even though? Change this form into second form. Can you?
Yes, sir. Let me say.
Yeah. Okay. Who's that? Shifa? Is that Shifa?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Shifa, please.
He couldn't pass the exam, although or even though Peter has studied hard.
Okay, very good. Right. Peter couldn't pass the exam even though or although he had studied hard. Do you need comma there or not?
No, sir.
Okay, we don't need comma. Right. Okay. So, next. Okay, another example. This is another example. Although she has a job, although she has a job, she is unhappy. She is unhappy. So where is it, although? Yeah, you find although there in the beginning of the sentence, right? And then after that, okay, or the sentence or the clause after consisting of although, we have to put comma before the next sentence, because before coming the other sentence. Okay, although she has a job, comma, she is unhappy. Okay, and now we use even though or although in the middle of the sentence. She is unhappy even though she has a job. Or Mary is unhappy even though she has a job. Okay, maybe she has a problem, all right? Maybe she doesn't like the job, probably, okay? Okay, the second picture, she didn't get the job even though she had all the necessary qualifications. Too bad, right? You find even though there in the sentence?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, where is though, in the beginning or in the sentence, or in the beginning or in the second?
In the middle, sir.
The middle.
Right, in the middle of the sentence. So it means when we are connecting contrasting ideas, there are two sentences there, okay, or there are two clauses there, right? So it means we are joining, we are connecting two clauses. Yeah, two clauses become one. We are connecting two clauses using although or even though. The first clause has the first idea, and then the second clause has a different idea, and between the two ideas are contrasting. Okay, right? Okay, you have a problem, you have question, feel free to ask. Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is although and even though. Now we are going to continue to the next, using despite and in spite of. Despite and in spite of. Okay, look at this one. In spite of the pain in his leg, he completed the marathon. Okay, in spite of. So here we are using in spite of. In spite of. In spite of is one word, okay, not separated. Do not separate it. You cannot say in spite the pain in his leg he completed the marathon. No, it must be together. Yeah, the word consists of three. Yeah, in spite of, it's together, three words. Yeah, in spite of the pain in his leg, he completed the marathon. All right. Okay, and then the second sentence, despite having a headache, I had a great birthday. Yeah, despite having a headache, I had a great birthday. Do you think these two sentences have contrasting ideas or not? Is it contrasting or not? Yes, it's contrasting, right? Despite having, when you are having headache, do you think you can enjoy the birthday or the party? Supposed to be not. But when it is contrasting, then you enjoy. Despite having a headache, when you are having headache because you are not in good mood, and then you cannot enjoy the party, but the fact it's surprising you enjoy the party or you had a great birthday party. Okay, despite having a headache, I had a great birthday. Or the first, in spite of pain in his leg, he completed the marathon. So he's supposed to stop. I mean, if he has a problem in his leg, he should quit or he should stop. Yeah, he should stop joining the marathon, but he continues. So it's surprising. This is what we do not expect to happen, but it happened. Right, so now I'm asking you, do you find any difference? Is there any difference between using despite and in spite of here? Is there any difference? Well, actually, there is no difference. The difference is only the in the terms, istilahnya saja. In spite of, with of, in spite with of, despite is without of. Can you say despite of having a headache? No, cannot. Because of belongs to in spite. It does not belong to despite. Despite do not have of, but in spite it has of. Okay. Okay, this is, you have to be careful with that. Yeah, sometimes students are a bit confused. Yeah, they say in spite the pain and despite of. Right, this is wrong. Yeah, it's supposed to be in spite of followed by of and despite without of. Okay. Okay, the second question, do you find any difference between despite and in spite of? Compare despite and despite of compared to although and or even though. Do you find any different or not?
Yes, sir.
Who can tell the difference? So this one, although, right? You can have a look at this one. Have a look this the example, and then you can analyze the sentence. Is there any difference or not? And then this one
Yeah.
is despite and in spite of. Oh, is it different or not? Okay, who can tell the difference? Or who find the difference between despite and in spite of compared to although and or even though?
Let me, sir.
Okay, who's that? Amanda. Okay, Amanda, please.
So although and even though, after the although and even though, it's followed by clause, and after in spite of and despite, it's followed by praise.
Ah, that's correct. Yeah, that is very good. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, if you see this one, although she has a job. So this is although. And then what is happening after although? What is following although? Okay, she and then has. She is a subject and has is a verb. Okay. Okay, what is that? When group of words consists of subject and verb, it's called clause. Right. What about number two? She is unhappy even though she has a job. Which one is even though? Okay, this is even though. And what is coming after even though? Yes, she has a job. She is a subject, right? Has is a verb, okay, and then a job. She has a job. Okay, so she has a job is a clause or clause. So compared to in spite of the pain in his leg, he completed the marathon. In spite of, what is coming after in spite of? Yeah, in spite of is followed by the pain in his leg. Do you find subject and predicate or verb there? There is no. It's only a phrase. Yeah, noun phrase. The pain is noun and in his leg is there is no verb there. It's called a phrase. Group of word has no verb and subject. Okay. What about this one? Despite having a headache, I had a great birthday. Despite and followed, is it verb or not? No, it's not verb. It is not verb. It is gerund. Yeah, gerund is a verb added by ing and then form as a noun. Jadi dia membentuk kata benda jadinya. Despite having headache, I had a great birthday. So after despite and in spite of, it can be followed by gerund. Okay. Okay, so the next is despite his best. This is another sample. Despite his best effort. This is typo without s. Effort, not efforts, but effort. The man just couldn't succeed. So also here, in spite of being on time to the class, we were not admitted. Yes. Okay. After despite, it's also followed by phrase. There is no subject and there is no verb here. And like this one also, in spite of being on time to the class, we were not admitted. So in spite of being, so it's followed by gerund. What about if we switch? Can we say despite being on time or in spite of his best effort? Can we do that? Yes, we can do that. So despite being on time without of, despite being on time, not despite of, but despite being on time to the class, we were not admitted. Okay, in spite of his best effort, the man just couldn't succeed. Right, so now let's talk about the, okay, if you Yeah, this one make it clearer. So although and even though, let's talk about the form here. So although is followed by clause. Yeah, clause. Although or even though, yeah. Although or even though is followed by clause. For example, like this one, although the exam was difficult. We do not talk about this one, okay? Not this one, but we talk about the exam was difficult. We do not talk I did it well, but what we mean as a clause here is the clause coming after although, yeah. The clause coming right after although the exam was, this is the clause what we mean, not this one. Not I did it well, but the exam was difficult. So difficult, okay. The exam is verb, was is a verb because it's auxiliary verb, yeah. And that difficult is adjective. So this sentence or this clause has a subject and predicate. So although the exam was difficult, so it can, so although we can use although in this sentence. Okay, here although, even though, or actually you can use though, yeah, though, yeah, it's very common too. Although, even though are conjunction, kata penghubung, yeah, meaning that they are followed by conjugated verb. The first two usually start clauses, while the last one usually ends them. So the point is, although is followed by clause, clausa, okay? What is clausa? Clausa, a group of words which has subject and predicate. Hope you understand. And the next is despite and in spite of. So the form is despite and followed by phrase. What is phrase? Phrase is group of word which has no subject and predicate. It's only group of word. It can be noun and can be gerund, yeah, noun phrase, okay? So the example is, in spite of being on time to the class, we were not admitted. So here, look at this one here. It's followed by gerund, okay? So despite and in spite of are prepositions. So despite or in spite of is preposition. Yeah, preposition. Okay. Despite and in spite of are preposition. What is the meaning? Meaning that they must be followed by noun or verb in the gerund. Yeah. Because it's preposition, it must be followed by noun or a verb in the gerund. Yeah, like we mentioned before, or I explained before. Okay, so you cannot put despite we study hard or in spite of I study hard. We cannot do that because I study hard is clause, is not a phrase. Okay, this is very common too. Be careful with this one. This is not that it is common to use in spite of and despite. We explain the fact that. So it's connected after in spite, and despite and in spite of is connected with fact that. What happened if it is followed by the fact that? And if it is followed by the fact that, so after the fact that, even though it has this, even though we use despite and in spite of, the sentence or despite and in spite of, and after the fact that, it must be followed by subject and verb. Example like this one: in spite of the fact that. So the problem is here. Yeah, we have to pay attention. He is here. In spite of the fact that, because you are connected with the fact that, so after the fact that, then it should not be followed by phrase, but it should be followed by subject and verb. How about if we omit the fact that? Can we use in spite of he worked very hard? No, cannot. So we use he worked very hard. We use clause here because we use the fact that before the clause or after in spite of. In spite of the fact that he worked very hard, he did not pass the exam. Right. So the second sentence also we use the fact that despite the fact that he worked very hard, he didn't pass the exam. Okay, I hope you understand. So the matter is using the fact that. So it's different. Okay. Right. So we are now at the end of our topic. So before we close the presentation, do you have any question? If not, we are going to continue to the exercises. Do you have any?
Sir, let me, sir. I have a question.
Okay. Yes, please.
So, sir, from what you've told, I got that in spite of and despite has only one object, one subject, I mean. So, how if I made sentence like this? Although he has done bad things to me, I still like him. So, can we change it into despite and in spite of, sir?
Yeah, when you change you don't need the subject at the beginning because in spite of is followed by phrase. In spite of, what is your sentence? Tell me once again. Say again.
Although he has done a lot of bad things to me, I still
Okay.
like him.
You want to change to be in spite of doing a bad thing to me. Okay, so it will be like that. In spite of making a problem or making trouble to me, I still love her. In spite of his bad behavior or his bad habit, so that would be like that. So you don't need a subject there.
But sir, if we change it to the in spite and this,
Then you have to
in
put
spite
the
of and
fact
despite.
that. Then you have to fit the fact that in spite of the
Oh
fact
yes.
that he did something bad to me, I still love him. You got it?
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Understand? Everybody understand? I hope everybody understand. So when you use in spite of and despite of, you don't need a subject. Then you have to switch the clause into phrase. It can be noun phrase and it can be using gerund. Okay. For example, like I come on time, but I come on time to the class. I was not admitted. I was not allowed to join the class. So you can you say in spite of being on time, you can say that. But you cannot say in spite I come on time. In spite of being on time to the class, I was not allowed to join the class or I was not admitted. Understand? So if you want to if you want to write a full sentence, in spite of the fact I come on time, I was not admitted or I was not allowed to join the class. Okay? Right. So any other questions? If not, we're going to continue to exercises. Okay? Exercises. So here, okay, please use although or even though, despite, and in spite of. Yeah, fill in the blank with although or even though. You can use although and even though, and in spite of and despite. Okay, question number 1. Who will answer question number 1?
Let me, sir.
Who's
Let me,
that?
sir.
Who?
Rahmi, sir.
Who?
Rahmi, sir.
Okay, Rahmi, please.
Even though she didn't want to see the Lord of the Rings, she enjoyed it in the end.
Is it good? Yes, correct. That's correct. Yeah, because why are we using even though here? Why are we using even though here?
I think because I don't get any examples, sir. Because if we use in spite of, I think that's not connected, sir.
Okay, because right. Why are we using even though or even though? Because after that, because the sentence it started with clausa, right here. Yes, not phrase. She is a subject. Didn't want is verb. Okay, very good. Right. Second number 2. Question number 2. Sorry. Question number 2. Who will answer question number 2? Yes. Who's that? Who will answer, please?
Let me, sir.
Okay, who's that?
Pak, sir.
Ripai. Okay, please Ripai.
Even though it was raining, we decided to go anyway.
We decided to go anyway. Okay, is it right or not? Is it good, a correct or incorrect sentence? It is correct sentence, right? Why are we using although or even though there? Ripai?
Because after even though is closer.
Closer. Okay, very good. Yeah, it is a subject and was is a verb or the auxiliary verb, and then okay, was raining is what is it helping? This was is one. Was raining is a verb, right? Is a predicate. Okay, right. So it is closer. Okay, the last question.
Let me, sir.
Who's that?
Echa, sir.
Okay, Echa, please.
Bali is a fantastic place in spite of being too hot in July and
In August, very good. Yes, Bali is a fantastic place in spite of being too hot in July and August. So it's followed by gerund, right? Being too hot in July and August. Okay, well, students, we are now at the end of our class, and then I have to remind you, if you haven't filled the question or the quiz or formative in our Schoology, please fill. Okay, please do it, because we are calculating the score. Okay, there are some
Sir,
students and there are some
I'm sorry.
quiz that is still empty, you know what, nobody, but maybe you have to check it again, yeah, whether you did it already or not, or even you did it already, you have to check it, is it submitted or not. Okay, all the quiz and formative. Okay, well, student, that is the end of our class today. Okay, thank you for joining our class, and I hope everybody is fine and then well, and the next meeting so you can join again in our next class. That's all for today. Thank you, have a nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye.